Cool deal. Cool deal. All right. We are rocking and rolling, I believe. Okay. So this was really frustrating and whatever. I'll figure out all the technical mumbo jumbo that, YouTube screen sharing requires. But what I did here was this is like, this is a layer. Okay. This is a foot. Looks more like a shoe. And then you got the body on one layer. And I really, the best way to export this is because what happens is when you have one layer for a foot, and then you have one layer for a lower leg, right? And then one layer for an upper leg, and then one layer for the body, which is way the heck up here, right? So you want to, you want to size it differently. There's just different ways to like say, okay, I either want this really huge, and then when you take it from here and then you put it into your animation software, it's gonna like grab the whole layer right there. Uh, it's gonna give you an entire box kind of thing. But whatever. Right? So like one thing I could try is, let's see, what's the deal here? Uh, please move. Please move. Is it frozen? Shinju is the image frozen? Let's see. It says please move. Make it move. Okay. So what I'll do, I think, is to best yeah. I'm going to export. I'm going to keep it as I keep just the body right here. Okay, that's that size. That's one layer. Let me see if I can adjust all of these. See, that's the cool thing, or that's the funny thing about certain animation software, is that part of the time you're adjusting the actual graphics, right? And then like let's just say let's get some of this rolling here. So where let's just say, all right, here is the body and here's the foot. And we're just going to animate real quick the body and the foot. And does he have a head? Let's use this arm as a head, or maybe we can draw a head right here. Nice. I see the green. Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks, Loki. Shinju, if you're able to comment on the YouTube as well, that would help. Let's see. So yeah, this is just kind of cutting out real basic shapes. And it's kind of funny because he does look sort of like a bird, as the old Jurassic Park theory. So I'm not going to do too much of a detailed illustration here. Let me, because this is really more about animation and not this is a very rudimentary look at illustration there. And what the process, really the best process, of course, is that you would go in and you would kind of pre-illustrate all of the art before you take it into animation. And then you would chop up all of the art and then bring it into your animation software. And a lot of times they have it like as layers. Maybe the mouth is open. I don't know. Because that's kind of the mechanics of this, is that everything that you're moving is an individual part. And so you don't always want to spend too much, like when you're already kind of in the cycle, in the process of getting stuff rolling, you can't really maintain all of the other parts to it as it's moving, you know. So like if you've got to refine you have to refine the artwork, you would have to stop the entire process, which is kind of what we're doing right here. Or you could, okay, this is a very, very generic looking thing. Okay, Shinju, I am not here, saving up the second stream. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have one layer here for Mr. Goldzilla as just that. And then I can do props. I can do props on one layer so that the props are either in front of him or behind him. And then I can do a background. So like, let's just start with the walk cycle, or not the walk cycle, because he's a bird dinosaur shaped creature. So what we will do is start keyframing just the body. And one more chop out here. Cool. We finished all the chopping. Okay. Move this foot and maybe move the head out of the way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start keyframing here. And you can probably see the keyboard. I'm hitting the F6 key. And what that's going to do is create a new frame. So I take it from the first position. I then move the object over about an inch. So I go to the previous frame. And so now I've got that on the previous frame. There he is at that position. Body's moved over there. I'm going to hit the F6 key again. And what that F6 key does is it creates a keyframe. Let me zoom out here for a second. Get that thing out of the way. Okay, I moved him over about an inch. Okay, so now let me review my frames. You got the first, you got the second, you got the third. All right, go ahead and do another keyframe. Fourth keyframe, moved about an inch. Let me see, well, maybe two more keyframes. One, all of the interface out of here. And the last keyframe. I hate these things. Why do they put that in there? Last keyframe. Okay, cool. So when you play it, very fast, it goes across the screen very fast. And, you know, he's in a hurry here. And he's missing, his head is detached from his body, and his foot is detached from the body as well. So if we want to extend the keyframes, I'm going to hit F5 a couple times per frame. And what that's doing is that is extending the same frame. One more. Okay. A couple more for that. A couple more for that. A couple more for that. And it's keeping each frame on the screen longer. So now you can see it's a lot smoother, and each frame, the frame on the furthest left, the following one, and the following, and the following, and so forth, are on. You have more actual keyframes of that. It's almost like you have more sheets of paper per each position. So now we can kind of line up. Okay, well, where's the head? The head wants to catch up to the body, right? And that's what really the whole layer thing is helpful for. And then here's the foot, which looks kind of like a shoe, I suppose. So let's say we put the head here, and let's go to the next actual position. And yeah, his head's falling apart a little bit there. In the next position there. There. And then he's almost off the screen. And then finally he's off the screen. So let's play that. So he's kind of in a hurry there, you know. Where does it go? Okay. But his foot is far, far ahead of his body and his head. So while we're doing this, let's go ahead and make a quick background here, because this is pretty lame looking. I am going to add a brush. You know what? Let's just do this generic style. All right, we got land. It's a nice sandy desert type of thing. And then we have sky. And the cool thing about the Adobe Animate is you can just change the stage stage color right there, the sky. That's the sky you want. I don't recommend that. Here's the wheel. Okay. Now we have a layer for props. Props could be, mountains could be a prop. Oh, well, whatever. Yes, it's all detached right there. Yes, it's all detached right there. No, not going to work. Okay, prop's not going to work. Let's just focus on this one. So I want to keep that thing in there, and it's consistent. Okay. Loki, interesting, definitely different how my animation app works. Yeah, they are all different. I think Adobe builds these to be consistent with each other. Like Photoshop would be all of the Photoshop and like let's say Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere. I think they're designed to look very similar to each other, and so that you get used to that interface. And then if it's a different publisher or whoever it is, then they're going to have their own style of creating it. Make sure that's in frame. Okay, good. So now we're going to do the foot. So for the foot, right over here, I'm going to do a few rotations. And one thing you want to pay attention to is pivoting, like your anchor point, where the actual heel of the foot is going to be. So let's say it's going to rotate. If you can see that dot, my intention is to have it rotate right here. That's where the bone, your heel bone, would actually rotate if you were a dinosaur. So when you grab the rotation tool, if you notice that location, that pivot location is, move this out of the way. That pivot location is rotating. Let's just do a full 360, right? You're rotating all around that one location. Versus if you move that pivot point to the very center of the object, then when you rotate it, you're rotating just around, the center of your foot, which is physically impossible. So we want to put it in a more realistic location, that pivot point, to where now we rotate and we move up, and then we do, when you do your actual foot or of a bird, we're doing this, or a lizard, or a dinosaur, we're rotating their foot. It's only going to go back so far. So you want to do more of a kind of a realistic expectation for that, and then goes forward that way, so that every step he takes, it is going to, have that pattern, that consistent forward and back pattern, or rotate that way or rotate that way pattern. And of course, if you want to get more detailed, in other animation examples, I will have it where I break off the toes, which is the forefoot bone, and then the heel. So you would actually have 3 parts to this thing that are broken and rotated independently. But we're going to simplify this and just do 1 foot to rotate. So we have 1 keyframe, 2 keyframe, 3 keyframe, 4, 5, and 6 keyframes on that. So the first one, we're going to start out, and we're going to first start out and let him have 1 here. Move the next one. He's planting the foot down. Okay, so let's go ahead and go toggle between these 2. The first, second, right? And let me make a little bit more of a shadow so that we can see props. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the props layer. Or no. I'm going to put this, I'm going to make a layer for shadow. So that this shadow, it's not so much just that it's a guide, but it is also a sort of a complementary element to the impact of the foot, the collision of the foot and the ground. Lock the foot, so I don't want to select the foot. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So he's going to continue, he's going to go through here, contacting the second one, and we'll just move that shadow over, right? And so that this gives us a guidance as to where the foot should impact. So we want that, we start here. And what I should have done is I should have keyframed that. So that's its own separate keyframe for the shadow. And then we take that shadow, right? Make sure it's located consistently along that horizontal location, right? Second frame, you see that? Maybe it needs to be larger or higher up. Look, it says, yeah, my animation has, okay, animation, yeah. So that's putting that foot, right? Interesting how it's getting, it's kind of funny to see it get it off center a little bit. It's like, well, his foot has gotten away from him. His foot is getting away from him. And that's just looping, like it's going the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, right? Back and forth. So this, we'll go ahead and make another keyframe for that shadow. Again, the shadow is both artistic and technical. In a way, it's just saying this is your measure. It's like a ruler. This is your location on the ground where you're going to keep that foot consistently there. So now what we're going to do, we have the foot up, right? The next major frame, the foot down. The following frame, we're going to have the foot rotate as we were rotating earlier. Okay, keep that heel. And now what we're going to do is he's going to start doing some higher motions, some jumps, takeoffs, some jumping and takeoffs. So because we have that point of collision, we have that reference, that shadow area right there. That's going to be the reference as to where, like if you're about to jump and maybe let's say you're going to throw a basketball or something, you've got that point of reference where your foot, your foot is right here on the ground, right? Get this thing locked, unlocked. Okay. And maybe I can just even extend the shadow. All right. You've got that point of reference where your foot is on the ground and then your foot then leaves. Notice you got that. And then the foot the foot is pushing the rest of your body weight off the ground. So let's see how that looks. Pull the rest of his body back. And yeah, he needs his legs and all that stuff. So now you have some of that, and the shadow is kind of funny looking, but now you have more of that physics lining up to where it should be. So we probably even want it a little bit closer. And that's less of a run, but it is more of a hop, right? And it looks like he just basically tripped over something real quick. Let me see if I can keep this thing on for a little longer. So the following one would be, you start out where he's got the, his foot lifts up, and then we could do a cycle, but I'm going to try a jump here. So this jump, I'm going to add a keyframe for this part. This jump should basically just reflect what you're seeing here. And my approach, there's different ways you could approach this. My approach, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to take the following one. We're not going to do the leave the stage thing. We're going to do where we lift. All right, we lift from that location. We can do a small slight rotate, because when you do jump, your foot, it's left the ground, and it's not so much that gravity is pulling it down, but it's a little bit of that, but also your body is just kind of forming and adjusting to, balance itself so that you can have a successful jump, right? So remember our point, our reference point right here. And then we pull it back down there. You probably pull it back a little bit. Nope, cannot. In fact, probably want to go forward. Those gadgets, get those things off of here. Okay, go. And he's slapped back down. What really helps me is to kind of just scrub through the animation left and right, from 0 to 10 or 0 to 15 or wherever, just so I can see the progress of this thing coming together. I don't know if you're able to see the keyframe. You can see it right up here. As I'm just going back and forth with that keyframe. So your character is then, get that foot back in position. Your character is then having a place to, he's making progress. The following frame, it would make sense that if he's actually jumping, he's not going to go back down to the ground. What he's going to do instead is just leave the stage, right? And then one more frame to follow that right here. The actual leaving the stage, I'm going to make a keyframe for that, and that would be there. Okay, let's see how that looks. It's a very anti-gravity kind of floaty jump, and notice that none of the other body parts are moving very distinctly as he leaves the scene. So that's why it's important to kind of have these separate layers, as I was doing earlier. One layer for that, one layer for the upper leg, lower leg, foot, all that stuff, so that you can have control over moving each part. But that takes a little longer, and that's gonna, it's not going to be as quick to show here. So this is a good start to getting, all right, now he's hopping. He can go back and forth, hop back and forth. When we leave the scene, we want to make sure that, let's go ahead and make like a reference line here. This is not actually the art of it. This is just a ruler. So we want to make sure that path is the way we want it to be. So this is just kind of like saying, okay, I'm going to take this path and I want him to go that way. Okay, so far, yeah, he's good on that path, or no? So far, yeah, he's good on that path, or no? No, he's getting off the path, isn't he? Because the middle of his foot is right there at that red line. The following one, it goes forward. So that really should be back here. And then that also should be back here. That one is a little more interpretive kind of thing. And that's the last one where he's off the stage, I think. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if he follows that path. Okay, so now that he's following the path, we can start to do some motions, some formations that gives him more of that gravity conforming look. Is that the foot or is that the shadow that didn't move? Foot is on this frame. Foot stays here. Okay, and we can maybe pin the body that way. Let's see how it looks. Loki's saying, yeah, I can see it. I can see it do this all the time to help me work on the flow. So I wonder what I feel like there's not enough anticipation motion here. There needs to be more like he is like he's here and then he's going to step one, he's going to approach the collision point, and our collision point again is right here, right? It's, you could call it collision, you could call it impact. That is where he is going. He's moving from here, I am on the ground, and now I'm using my body weight and my foot muscle to push off the ground. Whereas this one, he's approaching the ground. So there needs to be more of that anticipation to say, I'm about to approach the ground, and now I've approached the ground, and now I'm leaving the ground, and here's my force to leave the ground, and then the rest follows. He flies up, right, and he does whatever he flies up. So to make more anticipation, we have a few keyframes available in here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a keyframe here to here. Let's see. I'm going to add one, say, right here. Keyframe right there. I'm going to push that out. Nope. Okay. I'm going to take off this ruler thing. Okay. He's ready here. And yeah, one thing we could do is pull that rotation, that pivot point, right? That pivot point is going to come down just a little bit. All right. So there's that, and then that. So notice that needs to sort of conform to where that's the very tip of that heel. That heel needs to then follow through here, and then finally he hits that. Okay. So the rest of the body had not really been adjusted. We're going to go ahead and make sure, like we'll keep it in mind that, and get this land out of the way. Wait, no. Shadow, something in here we don't need. Props, take the props out. We know that, not all of it is lined up. We're going to keep that in mind. So we can sort of work with that. We could say, all right, I'm going to sort of deform or rotate that a little bit. And however your character's head's supposed to balance, right? That's this part and this part are not lined up between those two frames. So that has to, like the back of that head needs to be a certain distance between the spike. Comes back here, keeps that consistent distance, right, from that spike. So it's like his chest is puffed out, and then his head goes down. But the rest of the body needs to also be consistent with where the foot is at. And yeah, it would help if he had a actual leg. Okay, so let's just get these 3 parts consistent before we start adding more parts to him. And this is why this is kind of why I want to do just a very simple one, because once you get like all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you'd have like 8 to 12 different parts trying to move at the same time. And I don't want to overcomplicate that learning process. Just starting with these really basic shapes, I think, would be easiest. So now that's that foot launch impact point. So I'm going to make another keyframe for that. Push that out. Okay. Push that out. Nice. All right. Let's see. I'm going to read the comment real quick. I'll play that. Loki saying, yeah, for the anticipation could lower. For the anticipation, you could lower the body right before the jump to help show that he is going to jump. True. Lower the body before the jump in order to help show that he is going to jump. True. And that's because, why? Because when you're doing different things, you're forcing your body to prepare for all of that weight, and then you're also essentially allowing gravity to kind of do its thing, and then you can then address your physical attention to the process of jumping. So that's what that conveys. So it's a little smoother now, as you can see. Let's see if we've lowered it enough. Up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So let's try it. Let's try to lower that. 1, 2. We could even squash him a little bit here, and that will force us to lower it. Okay, squash. Now he's pulled up a little bit. You know what? Let's go ahead and skew that just for a second. Okay, down, squash, up. And then that following one, we're going to have to decide, okay, what does the foot need to do? Yeah, see, let's see. Yeah, the foot's static there. Fix my pivot here. And then all right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Try it. He's falling apart as he takes off. Engineering noob. Okay. But yeah, it's a little slower, but you know what? We can fix that by getting those keyframes. I'm going to take out this little ruler thing because that just looks like dirt. Okay. He's kind of slow, but there's different ways to, fix the speed. And you know what's kind of funny is giving different expressions while they slow down. Like you could have like an exclamation mark or something right here, or a sweat drop or something like that. It's like, oh man, here we go. It's gonna get intense. And yeah, the head is off alignment right there. It's kind of funny looking. And if he wants to, you know what? I'm going to change the color if I can of this green. No, that's not what I want to do. Is this a graphic? Let me just give him an outline there. I'm just going to create an outline for that foot, some more contour, so that you can make the distinction of where the foot is at. Right. Some tennis shoes? I don't know. This is a very I wouldn't say stylistic dinosaur, but he's up to something. If anybody remembers those pumps where you press down the little air inflator thingy, he's good. And yeah, let him take form from there. He's got to have the rubber soles. All right. Nice. Go back. Come on, come on. Okay. Oh, that's only one frame. Oh my gosh. I can maybe copy and paste that back over. Yeah, that could fit. Okay. Wait, I know. Sometimes in animation, you got to do, I wouldn't say monotonous, repeat actions, you know. A lot of it is like, all right, we did that, and then we're going to do something slightly different, and then repeat that a couple times, and then do something else slightly different. And then, that's part of the process of anything productive. You know, there's a lot of monotony to things. So if AI is going to take over animation, you know, or if that's possibly a threat or a concern, then it's really a matter of how much redundancy does AI, well, how much redundancy can AI do, and how accurately can it do those redundant things, right? Because humans can detect. The thing is, the difference between humans and AI is a human will admit when it's wrong. Well, hopefully, the human will admit when it's wrong for the good of the production, right? For the good of the quality of the work. Where an AI may not actually catch its own errors. AI might just say, "You told me to do this, so I'm going to do it," and that's what it's done. You know, and you're like, "No, dude." It's the human factor. Humans are more likely to use common sense. They're a little slower at it, you know, but they apply. I don't know. That's my argument on AI, is that humans are more likely, you can rely more on humans to use common sense than you can rely on AI to use common sense. Can you program common sense in AI? Well, that's that would be the hope, right? But can it be done? That would be the hope, right? But can it be done? I mean, that's, who knows? These shoes are really taking this guy pretty far. It's like way up here. All right, let's see how it looks now. A little better. Okay, I think he needs a basketball or something. I don't know, or maybe a gold brick. I don't know. So I'm going to do kind of a scrub review. I'm just going to scrub kind of back and forth on this thing and look at, all right, get this thing off of here. Oh, that's frustrating. No, there we go. Doing. So, oh, there's his leg. There's that leg we were missing. Let me see if I can modify this. Let me see if I can modify this without breaking it. Cool. Oops. That was not what I wanted to do. Okay. We're going to try to open them. Oh, I know what happened. It crashed. That's cool. That's fine. Fix it. Open Animate back up again. He is playing Gold Ball. Yes, he is playing Gold Ball. And so that was a quick crash, no big deal. We're opening Animate one more time. Here's Animate. Slowly opening. This was the original, like that was the upper leg, one layer for that, one layer for, or just, its own object that's the lower leg. So when you get all of these parts put together in there, then you can start to make more like, I guess, what kinetic motions, something that's more sensible. And let's see, what is Animate doing? Animate is attempting to, slowly loading. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it had autosave. Yeah, my habit is I save like a million times my projects, and let's see what it does. And you know what? I may have a different Animate that might. I have two versions of Animate on here. Zilla one. There he is. Yeah. Gold ball. And now it's, so like looks like I have two Animates. And now it's, so like looks like I have two Animates open. I have 24 and 23. Right now we're running in. This is Animate help? No. Updates, manage my account. We don't want this one. We want the other one. There we go. Whichever version this is. Okay. So you notice you got one keyframe, second keyframe, first, second keyframe, third keyframe, fourth keyframe, fifth keyframe, sixth keyframe, moving up. There's the cutoff of the stage. Seventh keyframe, there's the cutoff of the stage right there. Eighth keyframe and ninth keyframe. Okay, so, and each keyframe, each frame is actually consisting of about 2 frames per image. So I want to make sure once I'm going to do another another sort of refresh walkthrough of the pivot. Okay, that could be further a little bit back just to make sure that heel is in alignment. Okay, good. Next one. A little further down. There is your, right here. Right here is where it needs to rest the weight. So it's going a little further up. So now we just got to make sure that's lined up. Okay. And it's going up. And now we can sort of move into space. All right. Okay. Let's try it. That's a lot tighter. Yeah. And I can take off that shadow just to help it out. I save 101 times. Loki's saying, I save 101 times and then create a duplicate for safety. Yes, I do as well. I don't think I've created a duplicate of this. Let me go ahead and do that right now. Save or save as. In fact, I'll just go to my. This one's not giving you a copy, but whatever. There's this. There's this. We have our Zilla. We have our, 1205, 1204, Zilla Flash, 1204, copy, paste. All right. 1.3 megs. Okay. So we've got the foot starting out, and I had a leg over here. There he is. And I had a better modified leg that took. Oh, I know what happened. And that's the thing is with Flash or with Animate, Adobe Animate, it's going to use it really seems like it takes a lot of power just to use it. And I don't like that graphic because I think that's what caused it to crash, is my theory. Is that it uses a lot of power on the type of graphic that you're using. It's a very vector heavy type of thing. And if you start to modify things to rasterize them within the application, it might start to act funny or crash. So what I'm going to do is export this as little parts, upper leg, 150. Okay, go back to Flash. Import into library. So parts and library. Where's library? Lower leg. It's a very large upper leg. It's interesting. You can still see he still has the formation of that bird body type, dinosaur bird type of thing. And yeah, we could really use a lower leg. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this to be the lower leg. And I'll just kind of use it as maybe one leg right now. And then if we want to refine it, we can do that. Refine this one and see if I can. Yeah, it's going to take a little longer. Okay, well, do it then. Yeah, the dinosaur heels or bird heels or whatever these, lizard heels are kind of funny because they're not your general form to animate. Like we say, and what I noticed is that when I save it, I never get any issues. But the one time I forget, that is the time it will be the one time it crashes and loses. Yes, exactly. And I save like just by hand, just click, 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 save, multiple times as I go through this process. But making a duplicate, go into the actual folder like I did a second ago, making a duplicate, that I should do more often. But you don't want to do it too often because it'll take up too much space. Okay. All right, so this is kind of questionable because it's like, well, where's the pivot? If that's the heel, right, of a bird or a dinosaur or whatever the heck it is, and there's the lower leg, how should that actually bend? That does create a little more complexity because you're not going on traditional human leg animation principles. You're using a different. We have to go and study like alligators or lizards or turtles, even study the way that where's the hip. I guess turtles and lizards, they're all muscle. I don't know if they have. I'm sure they have bones and certain, tailbone and all that stuff. But where's the axis? Where's the axis they hit the rotation point of that bone, right? So like this doesn't really convey it accurately. Once you throw in, the body doesn't it's not accurate once you throw in that leg, because now you've got that extra bone in there. And then the bone would have to, you'd have to reposition a few things, basically, is what it comes down to. So let's see how it looks when we do that. We're sort of squashing that leg. We don't have to squash the leg, but it's just intended to complement that. So you want to keep consistent where that hip of that, see that little white dot, if you can see it, there's a little white dot point. Where is that hip in relation to the lower body? So the lower body would have to connect to consistently with each frame. See that? Bring that next. Nope. There he is. So now, yeah, keep that lower body consistent. And he is squashing, right? But when one bone is moving, it's either the rest of the bones are following it, or the rest of the bones have to stay in alignment with it at least, right? And so right here, it would not be consistent. So that's one key thing there is keep consistency of your objects, of the rotation points, of the pivot points, of the weight points. Keep consistency among all of your parts that are being animated. And it will look as it should look. Let's see, that's not consistent right there. Maybe move that here. Yeah, that's inconsistent. Bring that up a little bit more. Okay, let's see how it looks with that just so far for the first scene. So it's starting to be a little easier to digest and comprehend how he's all kind of put together now that you add in a little bit more arms, legs, limbs, and stuff, elements. You could use a mouth, a jaw, a lower jaw. Now let's see one thing real quick. How I know there was a control in here somewhere that showed how many frames. Frame rate, there it is. Frame rate 30. I'm going to go to 20. I forgot if that's higher or lower. Nope, that's lower. That's helpful sometimes, increasing or decreasing the frame rate. You can look at things closer when it's slower. You can, you see it more smoothly when it's faster. Let's increase the frame rate up to 50. So if we do that, I'd also want to do where I have more keyframes in there. So by that effect, by adding more keyframes and increasing the frame rate, it's going to be a little smoother. It's going to try to be a little smoother. Let's try to keep that leg back consistently. Now realign the rest of the body parts. It's still pretty funny looking. And let's see how he looks if he were kind of falling forward a little bit. That may not really add up like physics-wise, because when you're in the air, you don't usually turn unless some other force is turning you, like the air itself might be turning you. Or if you're in the water, yeah, the force of water would rotate you, reposition you. The force of wind would also reposition you, an object, if the object can be repositioned. But for the most part, he's going to state, hey, he should be saying, what's causing him to rotate. Put that thing back. I'm going to keep this here consistently. For each frame. Okay. Loki saying, I know a little on the bird leg works, a little bit on how the bird leg works. They are kind of like some dinosaur legs, and I am building a kinetics, KNX. Is that a brand of product, KNX? Or is that a dinosaur you're referring to? KNX. He's very hoppy, you know. And you know what we could also do is to kind of just to be able to keep more visibility of him is take this frame and just kind of cap this right here and don't actually have him leave the scene. So what I'm going to do now, and then we'll close up soon, and I'll try to do another stream later today to kind of make up for the lost time. I'm going to, I hate it when these excess pieces are in here. That's what causes it to crash when you have extra pieces that don't need to be there. I'm going to take what I have right now, and I'm going to now repeat. I'm going to copy the frame, paste it over here, and just reposition it and rotate it just a hair. So that now it looks like we got this frame, we got the next, and now he's coming back from here to there, from here to there. I'll zoom in, going from this point. If we had a ruler, we would kind of level it out right here. And then, yeah, so then we can kind of rotate it maybe. And we could probably use another keyframe within that. And this is always tricky. Is like, does his foot rotate here in order for anticipation to go back down? It's very fast, and we could add more keyframes, but this is just a very quick way. Take that other keyframe, paste it back over here, rotate, reposition, and then let's follow. All right, moving, coming back down. And remember that funny line I had earlier? That would be helpful to give that path, that path direction to say, all right, where is he going? How is he coming back down? Come back down here. Okay. And take this keyframe. So I'm kind of doing it in reverse here. If AI were to do this, it might kind of follow the same path, but it might make an error and it may not catch, or it might make a physically impossible error and it may not catch it. And you'd be like, why does it look so funny? Because AI didn't tell you that it was doing something that's physically impossible, well, according to the illustration. This is a tricky one because you got the land back down, how the body needs to be positioned. You could probably watch footage of like a gymnastic, what do they call them, pole jumpers or whatever, or somebody in sort of gymnastics type thing, and watch how the body is positioned while it's coming back down. You can maybe see some like forward pointed toes type of thing. Let's leave it right there, and it's very few frames, but let's just see how it looks as it comes back down. So yeah, you can see where it's about to hop and it's about to bring down its weight and repeat the same process over again of colliding with the ground, impacting with the ground, shifting the weight, shifting the body, maybe pulling the body down, and then pushing the weight with the foot, with the lower legs, pushing the weight of the body upward so that it jumps back up into the air and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. So it's just hop, 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 hop over and over again. Alrighty. Loki saying, K-Nex is a toy. I'll send some pictures in Discord. Cool. So I think this is a good start. Sorry for the earlier technical disruption. What the heck was going on with YouTube? So I think this is a good start. Sorry for the earlier technical disruption. What the heck was going on with YouTube? I have no idea. I'm thinking I'm going to move to a platform of may not be live, or it may be partially live, but well, it may be live, but part of it will be recorded. So maybe I could have more recorded examples, and then we can discuss, kind of like traditional classroom settings. Show a sample that's pre-recorded, and then we can discuss and answer questions between recorded clips and live clips as a live session. All right. Well, I hope this was helpful to get an intro as to. Let's see, and maybe we can revisit this later if somebody wants to revisit. Let's come back. Intro into, you've got different parts that are going to do different things. They're all going to work together, but they're all independently moving, and they have to be consistent. You've got to have consistent motion, positioning. Your positioning has to be consistent. You have to be aware of location, of force. That sounds strange, but you have to be aware of what is that hinge, right? What's the location of that hinge? That hinge is going to cause the force, and the location of like that hinge then does an action. It creates force, or it allows gravity to fall down, and then it follows that action. The action follows, right? The force here is mostly on the foot, the lower leg. That's pushing the body upward, right? And then you have that whole floating aspect. You're up, and then you're falling. What I would do, if I had more time, make another keyframe. Punch that out here, right? And then I would do an in-between here and here, right? Because it's very it's very quick. I would do a keyframe that's like, take the whole thing, rotate it just a bit, and have a nice invisible reference path somewhere, so I know, okay, he's going from here, then he's going to jump back into here. He's going to pick up his foot. Like if you tried that right now, you try to lift your leg, lift your arm, you can see, you go from one position way back here, then it's at that angle, and then it's at that angle. Let's see how that works. Let's see, make sure that background doesn't get off. It's a little smoother. So you see how you add those extra keyframes, you add those extra representations of force and visual representations of, the weight, the location of the weight, the location of the body, and you added those into each keyframe, and it smooths out that whole image, smooths out the entire appearance of, the body, the feet, all in motion, all working together. Let me speed this up a little bit. 56, no, 50, 60. Okay. Yeah, it's not too much, but and maybe I can give him a landing point. Landing. Dump things out of here. When he's landing, this won't be in frame right here, but just for principle, I would have that. He's probably going to come back to original position, right? Falling. No, I think he needs to be a little closer. See that? Where that heel is, proximity to. Yeah, that's off alignment. So now from here, he's falling very, very straight down. He's not going He's not going in the, now he's going in the direction. And then now I think this one he can, he's about to hit the ground. It's a little too far. And then finally he's kind of off the ground. He's off to lunch. Off to find a rabbit to eat or something. Rabbit eggs, stegosaurus eggs. So yeah, you could repeat that process, just loop it. Alrighty. Any questions before we close out? K-Nex is a toy. Maybe we can give him a mouth on the next video. Let me do some simple animation, like the sunrise in or something crazy. Props. That'll be our props layer. Let's go back to the props. So we got the mountains back here. Very poorly drawn mountains. And then let's just say like the sun is rising back here. Sun's rising. What is that, the moon? That's the sun. It's hot outside. That's a very funny looking sun. Oh well. Now here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cheat. It's called a motion tween. Create motion tween. Convert to symbol for tweet. Yes. Convert to symbol. And remove. Take that, remove frame. Yes. This is create motion tween. This is a feature that Adobe Animate has to where you don't actually use keyframes, but you let it animate it for you. And it looks like the whole thing just kind of animates itself. You know, or it looks like you animated it, but really you. Let's see how that looks. It's a very fast moving sun. Just add these keyframes up there. I can clean up that part too. Rising sun. There we go. Maybe the sun should be a little higher. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining. I will be in the Discord chat, and I'll see if I can post this. I don't know if I can in Discord. It's an animation. But I will post another YouTube link if I can schedule one later today around between 3 and 5 Central Standard Time. Maybe 6. I don't know. I can't guarantee right now, but I'll try. And if not today, then again, I can try for tomorrow. Alrighty, thanks for joining. I will see you guys around. Bye.